So I just finished watching Gojira 1954. Welcome back to the marathon, guys, of Godzilla versus King, or leading up to Godzilla vs Kong. Wow, that was actually quite a bit different of a film viewing experience for me. I was really pleasantly surprised. I've seen this movie quite a few times, but it did not impact me any other times like it did this time. This time it felt so much different and more real. And let's just start the review. I mean, this film came out in 1954 off the back end of the nuclear bombs in World War II and all the nuclear testing that happened. And this movie is a movie that just can't be remade. I've always heard people talk about it. You cannot remake this and it worked the same. It's for its time. It's perfect the way it is. You can remake it in the sense of making it fit the times, like Shin Godzilla basically did, or Return of Godzilla did, where in a way they remade this film, kind of, and made it fit to the times, more talking about Shin Godzilla. But, wow, this film was a roller coaster ride. I was really surprised. I watched it on my Criterion set, not the Criterion Collection version. I have not actually checked that one out. I think it's the same film basically, but I watched it on the Criterion Collection version that came out like a few years ago, and this film was great. Oh my! The first thing I noticed right off the bat, it was very fast paced. There was nothing really unnecessary, like dialogue wise or anything. Anything that happened really did benefit to the story, whether it relate to Godzilla or the characters. It just helped develop them over time, and you get to see the emotion between them. I did really enjoy the pacing of this film for the most part. There was a few moments where I was kind of like, it felt a little slow to me, like it felt like a change, but that's probably just me being me. It didn't take away from the film at all or anything. They were necessary. I guess it was mostly just because like we had like a weird section. It's just kind of like Godzilla was there, and then he was gone for a bit, and that scene was just such a roller coaster ride of like emotions and stuff that just made it feel like it changed pacing. But it was so great. I really did enjoy the pacing of the film. The acting was outstanding, beautiful. I really got invested into this film when it comes down to like the acting alone. Like the acting alone surprised me. Godzilla films are usually known for horrible acting, or horrible storylines or stuff. That's like kind of the cliche, stereotype. Not this film. This film from start to end, the characters felt so emotional. And they really did. Like, I'm watching them, and you can see just from their expressions and, just the way they act, it just felt like they were under so much emotion. I could feel the fear coming off these actors and actresses. It really surprised me. The emotion really showed, and literally just like you could see people in fear and stuff. And all that was so good. Like I said, I'm really pleasantly surprised, how good the acting, like people seemed scared, and that got me really invested. And, there's also the human story going on. And it was so interesting to see these like different minds, like the father, the scientist father. I'm sorry, I forget some of the names like that, or I just can't pronounce them, so I'm not gonna say them. But like the father, he's such an interesting character arc because he's the only one who doesn't want Godzilla to die. He makes arguments to why Godzilla shouldn't be killed. He just wants to study him and stuff. Makes him almost like a not like a creature that's not really understood. Miko, she's kind of in a conflict where she sees the oxygen destroyer, what it can do. She keeps the secret and she just breaks down. You see the breaking down of her, and the other actors. Serizawa wasn't in the film very much. I did really enjoy him though. He reminded me of Oppenheimer a lot, where he didn't want his weapon to be used, or his creation to be used as a weapon, his discovery to be used as a weapon. He didn't want that to happen. and they were going to use his weapon. That's the one thing he didn't want. Reminds me a lot of Oppenheimer with the nuclear bomb. He didn't want to use his weapon. He dropped out of the project. I'm probably getting some of my history wrong, but he was disgusted when he saw it used as a weapon. You know that I'm Death Destroyer World speech. Serizawa really felt a lot like him, to me. And like I said, it's really fast paced too. Like I said, people seem scared. Like the scene towards the beginning of the movie where the house gets destroyed and people terrified and screaming. That felt so real. That honestly did. And all that with the humans was so good. I really enjoyed that. I was really impressed and really intrigued with that. Now, there was also, shockingly, quite a lot, not shockingly, the film obviously had a lot of emotion, but, emotion for me, I'm usually that type of person that cries at movies. I mean, sometimes I kind of tear up if I get really invested into them or anything. And I didn't really cry during this film. The only Godzilla film that ever really made me, kind of cry was Destroya, when Godzilla died, and just the way I interpret that movie. This movie, though, however, there were some really emotional scenes. Prayer for Peace was really emotional. As you see it just, in Serizawa's face, completely, change his emotion and stuff, with the conflict going on there of him not wanting to use his stuff as a weapon, because he sees what an A-bomb and the H-bombs do. There were a few scenes that really did kind of make me tear up a bit. Like the little girl. They show all this stuff, the aftermath. They're in the aftermath. The little girl who, her mom's, dead in front of her, and she starts squealing and crying. She doesn't have a parent anymore. During the rampage, when the woman's holding her children, saying they'll be with dad soon. The news reporter just doing his job, and just you can see how terrified he is, and he's just saying his last goodbye as they all die. That was so crazy, how well that was just all done. It was perfect. I really loved it. The acting made it so good. And now, we're not even talking about the monsters yet. The monster stuff is so good, too. Godzilla, he appeared, its first, full reveal is, the 20-minute mark. It's so early into the movie. And from there, every now and then he kind of appears. He has a really short but really interesting rampage. Kind of sets up his sheer size and power. And when he's on screen, there's usually something else on screen that either makes him just look massive or really destructive. Whether it be there's people in the foreground, he's in the background looking huge. Where you see how big a train is next to his foot, tanks in the foreground, him in the background. Or something just him standing in a city covered with flames and just smoke and destruction. That was beautiful. And the second rampage, the main rampage in the movie, that was such a great scene. It was kind of terrifying. This Godzilla was really terrifying. A lot of people say it's derpy. He fits so well in this film, though, covered with the tumors and stuff. It all worked so perfectly. When he came on land, they did everything they could to kill him. Nothing worked. And literally, as soon as he gets past them, he just sets Tokyo ablaze. And just the city just gets... I said Tokyo. Was it in Tokyo? I'm sorry if it wasn't in Tokyo. I think it was in Tokyo, though. But, man, just when he sets the city aflames, everything's just consumed by fire. And, the deeper he walks into it, the more destruction. And the more the city's just consumed in flames. And what's really scary about this Godzilla that I don't recall any other Godzilla really doing is he literally looks at people and just shoots his atomic breath at them. He literally tries to hurt people. And that was such a nice detail of him actually, he's not just some dumb creature that's destroying stuff or just whatever. He literally wants to kill people. He literally wants to hurt people. He looks at them and he just disintegrates them. And I thought that was such a neat detail. And there's just, some really... He is still animalistic, spotlights kind of anger him and clock towers and stuff. I think one of the really interesting things... there's a scene, too, where he's just standing there. He stands completely still, and then he's just, breathing or something, his mouth moving. Stuff like that I found so terrifying. Special effects were great. This Godzilla was great. Everything about this movie was amazing. I couldn't believe, it took like this many viewings for me to be like, wow, I'm impressed, like I couldn't believe how much I love this movie after watching it. And it's not that I never did before, it's just I apparently was blind to how good it was. I know I hear some people complain. I don't hear too many complaints about the movie. One of the ones I have heard, like, that aren't completely dumb, I guess, is that the auction short kind of comes out of nowhere. And I don't know, they introduced it pretty early into the film without revealing exactly what it was. It does get revealed fully later on, if that's how the out of nowhere, but they like, kind of hint that, hey, they show what it is, but they don't show what it does. They leave that open until later into the film, after Godzilla does his destruction and stuff. And I thought that worked perfectly fine. I thought that worked good. And it took a fictional weapon to kill this Godzilla. You couldn't do it. Nothing else hurt him. Jets, nothing. It didn't. Hydrogen bombs, they made it really clear that wasn't hurting him either. He survived those. It took a fictional weapon to kill him. I thought that's a perfect touch. I know they kind of regret killing him now, but I was really, it took that. And yeah, the auction store, if you want to talk about an auction store that comes out of nowhere, you watch King of the Monsters. This film, I think, set it up for the most part pretty well. It brought more emotion to the film with the human perspective of the story, with Serizawa and them, and the girl having to hold a secret that really devastated her till finally she couldn't anymore because of destruction and stuff. It reminded me too, like I said, of Oppenheimer and like all the stuff happened with him. I don't know if that was ever the intent, but it just kind of reminded me of just like how depressed and stuff, and to the point where he was willing to kill himself just so no one else could be hurt by the weapon. That was all amazing. I honestly don't know what complaints I can give this movie, I can make up some dumb ones, like, it's not the most fun action-wise, but it's not supposed to be an action movie, I'm not going to complain about that. It's perfect the way it is. It was entertaining first time. I mean, rewatchability-wise, I might not rewatch it a ton, here, like, every other day, like, I'm just weird with my things. That doesn't mean anything, though, I could like a movie that is more of a one-time watch more than a movie I could watch 1,000 times and enjoy it. That's just because it's just that good of a movie. Like, it making me tearing up and stuff. And then, like, I guess maybe I wish Serizawa was a character more closely, like, since he was the one that had to kill himself to get rid of Godzilla, like, maybe if he was more emotionally connected to Godzilla, like, if he had a character, like, a family member directly killed by Godzilla or something that really made him strive for that kind of revenge, and it wasn't just something like, like, just the kid speaking. But, I mean, I guess it's kind of an interesting thing, too, where, like I said, the Oppenheimer, the Manhattan Project, and, Japan, kind of, like, or you say something like, the auction, or this is kind of like a war zone, and, they use that to win. I guess, I don't know, it could be, like, kind of representation of, like, the nuclear bomb, just, like, with, in a different way, and, I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but, I mean, maybe I wish they were a little bit more connected in a way, but, like, he had a lover or something, but that's fine, even that, and like I said, maybe some pacing stuff, but no, honestly, none of that really matters too much. The Serizawa might be the only one, but I might just be overthinking it, I was really impressed. I'm really pleasantly surprised. Wow, I can't believe how it took this feeling for me to realize how, like, this film is a masterpiece, for sure, Now, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna put it as, like, number one on my favorite movies list, that's a different story, but I can definitely see this is probably the best Godzilla movie ever, in terms of, like, actual production and, passion put into it and stuff. This film was amazing. I give it 5 stars, a perfect 5 out of 5. It's perfect, 5 out of 5. Now, that's all for this review, guys. So, just a little bit of quick trivia at the end, maybe a question. The review's over, so if you want to click off, go on ahead. But there was a moment where they, like, mentioned it wasn't a typhoon or whatever. Did 2014, the trailers or the movie or whatever, was that supposed to be an Easter egg to 54? I really don't know if that's ever been confirmed or not, where he's like, it wasn't a typhoon, you know? I don't know. They had that same, like, quote in this movie that's, like, was used in the 2014 marketing quite a bit, and I think was even in the movie. So was that? Or am I just being fanboying here? I mean, I guess it's not important, though, but... Alright, next up is Raids Again. I would say I'm excited to see that, but I already know it's going to have the same issues Son of Kong, and it's going to be rushed. I hope I have fun with it, though. I won't, you know, if I get past that, I get to see one of my favorite Godzilla films after that, too. So, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, as always, please share and subscribe. As always, peace. Bye-bye.